class we are doing intellectual property laws, and you can see this. I'm doing it from just reading. This is a Baer Act, and let me just again reiterate that intellectual property rights are composed of three acts. One is the Trademarks Act 1999, the Copyright Act of 1957, the Patents Act of 1970. All these three were amended by Act 33 of 2021. So you can see amended by Act 33 of 2021 as amended by Act 33 of 2021. So before I even begin with what is a Patent Act, now what is a patent? Patent क्या होता है भाई? Patent क्या होता है? It's a type of an property that you own. Which property? Intellectual property. Suppose you have invented something. कोई चीज़ मैंने invent करी है. So I'll have that particular right. It'll be my intellectual property, and it will give me a legal right to exclude others from making, using or selling an invention for वो जो मैंने invent किया वो invention for a limited period of time. Nobody can do it. I can sue them if they do it. Okay, in exchange for publishing and enabling public discipline of the invention. So anyway, so that is a patent. So that's a Patent Act. ये तो कोई करेगा ही नहीं. हमने अगर इतनी मुश्किल से बैठ के इन्वेंट किया और कल को सारे वही चीज़ बना रहे हैं तो हमें तो फ़ायदा ही नहीं होगा ना, मिलेगा ही नहीं. इसलिए इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट act that you should know, and especially when we are doing national income accounting, we are doing rent and royalty, that even in that you come across this term patent and all. Okay, so now talking about so let's just do the Patent Act of 1970. So before we go on, let me just tell you that how many chapters? 23 chapters and 163 sections हैं इसमें. The Patents Act of 1970 consolidated and amended the existing law relating to patents in India. The Patents Act of 1970 has 163 sections and 23 chapters and a schedule wherein inventions which are not patentable, applications for patents, publication and examination of applications, opposition of the patents, anticipations, provisions for secrecy of certain inventions, grant of patents and rights of patentees, rights of co-owners of patents, patents of addition, amendments of applications and specifications, restoration of lapsed patents, surrender and revocation of patents, registration of patents, establishment of patent office, power of controller and compulsory license, use of invention, infringement of parties, appeals to the board, penalties on contravention of provisions, agents, convention, applications are described and discussed in this particular act. When you see इतनी सारी चीज़ें, they will tell you. So as you know, it becomes clear. Now, intellectual property laws in India are covered by the Trademarks Act 1999, the Patents Act 1970, the Copyright Act of 1957, as the Designs Act between 2000, the Geographical Indications of Goods, that is Registration and Protection Act, and 1999, the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act of 2001, the Semiconductor Integrated Circuits Layout Design Act 2000, the Biological Diversity Act of 2002. So all this comes under the intellectual property rights. But we are doing the Patents Act of 1970. Now, what are the statement of the law and what are the of the act and what are the objectives and reasons? The existing Indian Patents and Design Act was enacted in 1911. So it has its roots way back in 1911, and since then there have been substantial changes in the political and economic conditions of the country. So the need for a comprehensive law so as to ensure more effectively that patent rights are not worked to the detriment of the consumer or to the prejudice of trade or the industrial development of the country was felt as early as 1948, and in the year the government appointed the Patents Inquiry Committee to review the working of the patents law in India. The committee submitted its final report in 1950. The Patents Bill 1953, based largely on the United Kingdom Patents Act 1949 and incorporating some of the recommendations of the committee, was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 7 December 1953. The bill, however, lapsed on the dissolution of the first Lok Sabha. In 1957, the Government of India appointed Shri Justice N. Rajagopala Iyengar to examine afresh and review the patents law in India and advise the government on changes necessary. The judge submitted a comprehensive report on patents law revision in September 1959. The Patents Bills of 1965, based mainly on the recommendations contained in his detailed report and incorporating a few more changes in the light of further examination made particularly with reference to patents for food, drugs and medicines, was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 21st September 1965. So you see that how the Patents Act was actually brought about in various years. So it's more of history that we are doing. The bill was referred on 25th November 1965 to a joint committee of Parliament. The joint committee, after careful consideration of the matter, adopted a number of amendments to the bill. The report of the joint committee with the amendment bill was presented to the Lok Sabha on 1st November 1966. The Patent Bill 1965, as reported by the joint committee, was formally moved in the Lok Sabha on 5th December 1966 but could not be proceeded with for want of time and eventually lapsed with the dissolution of the third Lok Sabha on 3rd March 1967. So the present bill contains comprehensive provisions to amend and consolidate the existing law and also contains amendments, recommendations by the joint committee referred to above. The notes on clause explain the provision of the bill. So if you can just have a look here. So these are the Repealing and Amending Act of 1974, Act 56 of 1974, which came about in 20th 12/1974, and second is the Delegated Legislation Provision Amendment Act of 1985, Act 4 of 1986, which came about in 15/5/1986. Then you have the Patents Amendment Act 1999, Act 17 of 1999. It came with effect from 1/1/1995. Then fourth is the Patents Amendment Act 2002, Act 38 of 2003 with effect from 20th of May 2003 and that is 2nd April 2007 and 6th June 2019. And fifth is the Patents Amendment Act 2005, Act 15 of 2005, and it came about in 1/1/2005 and with effect from 2/4/2007. So the Tribunals Reforms Act of 2021, Act 33 of 2021 with effect from 4/4/2021. So well, this is a short history of how the Patent Acts came about. It's very interesting. One should go through this. The entire sections are given in this. The chapters are there. And it's just a bare act. One gets to learn a lot.